The lost colony of Roanoke has been one of the greatest mysteries of American history. Speculation of their disappearance ranges from integration into native tribes, attack by supernatural beasts, and even being transported away by advanced technology. Today, we will discuss the history of the Roanoke colony.
Hi, and thank you all for joining us today. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans.
The Church of Mavis Radio Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing. got Vaseline or anything like that, Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, any last wish before you die, yo? Reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, fill your claw, you son of a bitch. Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Welcome, everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying the morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet. A lot of stuff been going on, a lot of weird stuff. I know they had the hearings all day in D.C., which, guess what, we're probably not going to talk about till Friday night. We might talk about them tonight. You never know as things progress along. But frankly, this was kind of weird. So I was off all day today, and I was doing all kind of interesting stuff. Nowhere in any of the news feeds that I have hooked to my television. So y'all know I do a news show on Friday nights, and we've been going through political. So right now there's about 18 news feeds hooked up on my Roku setup. So when I go in, they all pop up, and they all got me running. I'll get to scan them and tell me what's going on, and just stop wherever I want to stop. Not one of them had anything to say about the hearing all day today. Most of the news feeds on my computer did not have anything about it today. You know, it's under dramatic in a way that it's nobody's talking about it. And from what I've heard, I mean, I've heard some stuff, I've heard some stuff, but the biggest problem I had with this today, just like I had with the last one, is it's I heard. Okay, look, I heard sucks. I heard don't mean shit. I heard that means you're disinformation. I mean, look at Doty. I heard. When we talk about I heard, it's just not. We need the actual witness. Oh, whistleblowers are all great, but if it's not the person that actually seen something or touched something or physically was there, I'm not believing a word that comes out of their mouth. No, not even a word. Frankly, I need something tangible. I need there's all kind of great people who have said they saw UFOs or they know it's real, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't do squat. They just get ridiculed. We need the person that works for the colonel that's working for the Air Force, that's in with Boeing, that knows what project that they're working on, that they recovered from extraterrestrial technology. Yes. Why can't we have that person? Oh, because nobody wants to know nobody wants you to know who that person is, because that person becomes a target. So we'll never get to know those kind of people. And as far as whistleblowers go, whistleblowers are great, but you can't trust whistleblowers. There's been too many times in our past, not just in this field, but in multiple fields, that whistleblowers turned out to be a load of you know what. So I need tangible evidence. I need proof. Oh, yeah, videos. Oh, look at that video. Yeah, bullshit. Okay, you know how many videos I've seen of UFOs much better than these stupid yap videos? Oh, no, I mean, I need, look, this is Congress we're talking about. If that's the best Congress can come up with, then leave the researcher to the people in the field. I mean, legitimately, just leave it to us. I mean, we come up with much better videos you do, obviously, and way more data than y'all seem to. What's that, Kirby? Well, yes, they have to go through channels to some extent. You mean, do I think Trump will tell us more? Did he tell us a lot in the last one? So, judging by his actions, he did create Space Command, which has a multitask role. So also is tasked with finding aliens. So maybe not. All we can do is wait and see. But anytime I hear Congress, okay, this is Congress. Okay, this is the Congress. Now you get to listen to us, and we're going to get to the truth. I'll be dead and gone by the time Congress gets to the truth. No, really, I'll be living, or I'll be living on Elon Musk's Mars or something. I mean, I don't even know if they're trying to get to truth. Sometimes I think this is just to appease a growing mass in our country that wants answers. It's like the JFK mess. There's a lot of people in our country now that are not happy with the status quo and the way we've been answered about certain things. Well, okay, Mark, let's look at JFK. Why is there still something that's classified 50 years after his death? You got an answer to that? Actually, it's been longer than 50 years. It's been 61 years, if I remember correctly. So why do we have something classified this long? I mean, what is it that we're holding that we feel a need? Not that, and there's things that have been classified longer than that. Oh, yes. Our government holds on to secrets. Well, I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you what they are. Maybe some of them are aliens. Maybe some of them much more horrible than aliens. Maybe it's something we did. I don't really know in this particular section this particular scenario, who the bad guy is. I mean, Kennedy should be cut and dry. Okay, we know who tried to kill him. Bam, 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 wham, bam, bam. Here's the evidence. Well, Garrett from Louisiana didn't seem to think he's the one who killed him. So, I mean, it's taking us off topic, but so here we are, 50 years, and still no release of information. It's the same with ufology. I mean, anything that's good, they can't release because it tells you too much. Telling you one thing, that extraterrestrials may be real, that's all fine. That's no harm. That goes back to the desensitization program. The desensitization program I've been talking about for 40 years. I mean, I introduced it 40 years ago, and it still seems to be right on button. And I've talked about it on many shows in between then and there. Even back in days of Wake Up USA was the first place I talked to it on Wide World Radio. I mean, they slowly but surely are desensitizing us. And yes, well, letting us know that there's advanced life out there other than us is fine. It doesn't seem to be a threat to us. It's not, well, we'll talk about if it's abducting our citizens now, but regardless, the government doesn't think that's what's going on. They don't think the citizens are being abducted. I have, other than behind closed doors, I haven't heard anyone talk about anything going as far as abduction goes. Hey, Heidi, how you doing? It's Boulder is beautiful. What's that, Jackie? No, at this point, it's hard. The people need truth, so I don't. So there does need to be some type of disclosure of some sort. But what this isn't disclosure. This is asking more questions. This is saying, well, John saw Mike, and Mike saw Keith, and Keith said, "Hey, look, I saw this UFO alien thingy," and then he told Mike, he told John, then it went all the way back to the original person. Well, can you trust that? I mean, really, can you trust that? I mean, we don't know if we're talking about secondhand information. This could be second, third, fourth, fifth-hand information. As far as we know, this is hearsay. Nobody of any real consequence wants to come out and say, hey, I know aliens are real. Well, okay, we can do that. We can go through that list so we can talk about the Canadian Prime Minister, but really, what did he accomplish? Let me think about it. It's been 20 years. Nothing. It doesn't matter who you talk about or who you want to add to a list or not to a list. At this point, it hasn't really moved the field or this forward. It's still sitting in the same place it was when Walt Anderson created MUFON 60 years ago and before. Well, because this isn't the first carnation of ufology. Let's put it that way. Maybe the third or fourth. Well, because I don't know what MUFON is after anymore. No, they always say they're after the same thing: proof of extraterrestrial existence. But I've got a lot of friends over there, and they seem to be a little bit on the squirrely side. To each their own. I'm not hating on anybody. Anybody who's doing this research, thumbs up, baby. As long as you're keeping it honest, I'm all for you getting out there. Well, and actually, we're actually going to bring back a form of iCar radio, by the way, because the organization's being how can I explain it? Well, it's just being changed. That's all. Well, every so often, you have to go through it and see who's still got the energy, and it can burn you out. There's a lot, and people tell you a lot of their private stuff, and it's a lot to deal with for a lot of people. So it burns out people, and some people just title and nothing else. So every so often we go through and we reestablish directors and researchers and all sorts of other things. No, actually, there's a lot of jobs open. There's going to be Jerry, I did not go through and fire everybody. It's not no. Mm-mm. Most of the founders have retired, with the exception of myself and one other person, which I'm not going to mention name. 3 have passed away, which really sucks because they were all good friends of mine. Dee Andrews passed the longest. She was my national director. She was our national director and our Roswell expert. She knew more than Stan Friedman. As a matter of fact, she schooled Stan on this network more than one time. It was hilarious to listen to. Yeah, they got into a discussion about the nurse that was there, and poor Stan didn't even know what he got himself into. No, I like Stan. Stan, and I interviewed Stan more than 16 times before he passed. Yeah, he was one of my favorite interviews because we talked about all kinds of stuff. It wasn't always UFO. Shit, one time I just talked about how he got into the physics field and what was he doing. He was stunned because nobody had ever asked him that before. He was like, wait, what? We're going to talk about what? I said, do you mind? He said, oh, hell no, we'll talk about it. And because I like to know who people are. If I'm going to trust their research, I need to know who they are. That's why we take a different approach to research here. Well, I should say to people here in general. We're looking for directors all over the place. I don't have a list in front of me, so I couldn't tell you what states and what not states and what countries and what not countries. I think India, we have 6 directors in. Yeah, we're looking for them in China. We have a couple in China. China's a big country as far as population goes. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. And a lot of times it's hard to get stuff out of there. And we had people work in Wuhan. We got some of the matter of fact, this network got some of the very first pictures out of Wuhan with them carrying the bags and the people kicking in them and stuff. Oh yeah, those were ours. A lot of that stuff where they were spraying stuff, that was all ours. We had people there, and they knew how to get us the files. That was spooky stuff, to be honest with you. It was kind of even weirder than UFO stuff. But anyway, getting back to real stuff. So let's go. So we're going to be breaking down what went on today in Congress. Probably on Friday's show, we're going to probably get into detail about the breakdown. But I don't like being told something by someone else. I don't like hearing a third party and stuff. Well, I know this. We have this alien technology because John that works over at the Chem lab heard Bob talking to Cherie, who works over at the plastics lab, that we got this alien technology now that we're building. Okay. And that means what to who? That don't mean jack to anybody. Or let's just say it's the guy directly. Let's say he's going into one of these labs, and the guy who's in control of the lab says, hey Bob, that's alien technology, dude. Well, first off, why the hell would he do that? Because all this shit's compartmentalized. It kind of bothers me that they even say it that way. Well, yeah, because you lose your clearance, you could find yourself in prison. There's all kind of nasty stuff that could happen to you. Find yourself in a deep dark hole in Area 51, man. You don't want to play with that. No, that's dangerous. No, there's real consequences for people who have real secrets. So that's why none of the real secrets are going to ever get out to us, because unless they're dying and there's no sarcophagus to bring them back, they might tell you something. But even that's been far and few between. Who's my favorite ufologist? Ufologist, you mean not abduction research. would have probably been Jim Mars, maybe Ted Phillips. What's his name? Oh, I can't think of his name right now. Dennis Phaser. Yes, one of them three. They would have been in my top three because they were serious researchers. They didn't play around. Ted Phillips, as far as I know, is still alive and still doing good research. Dennis Phaser was an excellent researcher, and Jim Mars just was one of my favorite people in general. Him and I talked about shit. We got in discussions. We pissed off people left and right. We did when I got his last two interviews before he passed away on his Kennedy book and just in his last interview in general. And there's one in between. There's three of them actually we did. One of them is just sheer politics. Oh man, if you can find it, it's up there. It's on all of our venues. But if you look on SoundCloud, it'd probably be easiest. But him and I were just talking. Oh man, he's a tiger. Oh yeah, he was a lot of fun to talk to. I miss him. I still miss him even today. And we got a lot of mutual friends. But anyway, y'all keep dragging me off course here. Let's get back to, was there any real evidence? So let's talk about the media for a second. So I'm sitting there on my couch, going through the media. I just want to see what the media has to say about this. So I go through ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CBS, Sky News, Euro News, Canadian News. Anyway, I was at least 15 of them I go through. So I'm thinking, what the hell? Not even a mention of this. So I said, you know what? Let me go get my pad. It's got to be on my computer, on some of my news feeds on my computer. First thing I see is, why is Judge explains why Elon's $1 million is not getting him in trouble. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool, but no, okay. And then a couple other cars. Then it says, finally, you get one. This is in space news, by the way. USO whistleblowers tell Congress we're not alone in Cosmos video. In Cosmos video, I can't spit it out. I'm sorry. I tell y'all what, we can do this. This is an 11-minute long video, and hopefully it don't get me in trouble. Let's see, and we'll let you hear for yourself. I think this will be the first time I'm hearing this clip myself. So where are we? We're not on there, so we're not gonna be able to do it that way. What rating? No, I don't mind playing it. If y'all don't mind listening to it, I'll play it. It's like I said, it's 11-12 minutes. It's a little long, son, but let me pull up Google because StreamYard doesn't like Microsoft for some reason. I don't know why. It just doesn't. It doesn't work as well with it. It will work with it. It's just not as well. I don't know, Billy. You'd have to ask them about that. You'd have to ask StreamYard. Oh, all software, or most software, has issues. Just like any other software, StreamYard seems to have its own issues. Yeah, so every now and then you got to go and hope for the best. All right, let's go see. There it is right there. Oh, yeah, this is the... hold on. Stop thing. Damn. All right. Put this down. Hey, Jay, hold on, man. I'm getting ready to throw up a video right quick, man.
All right.
And welcome. Jay's been hustling people.
Yeah. My girl got stuck on the highway in traffic and was a little late picking me up.
Yeah, it's what I hear lately. It's been crazy everywhere. So let's let this ad play. What Michael noticed, this is this 11-minute clip. For some reason, it just threw up an ad right as we started, and we're not going to listen to their ad. No, because we don't make no money off of that. Yeah, no, this one was mandatory ads you have to watch because I'm not on my regular computer. Well, okay, let's do this correctly. All right, here we go. We're going to pull this up. Okay. Everybody be up there. Everybody be good. Everybody be kung fu. I'm sorry. Sorry, people got carried away there.
Douglas.
I got carried away there, man. All right, let's put this on.
Garcia, members of the committee. It is my honor and privilege to testify before you on the issue of unidentified anomalous phenomenon, formerly known as UFOs. On behalf of our brave men and women in uniform and across the intelligence community, as well as my fellow Americans who have awaited this day, thank you for your leadership on this important matter. Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. Furthermore, the U.S. is in possession of UAP technologies, as are some of our adversaries. I believe we are in the midst of a multi-decade secretive arms race, one funded by misallocated taxpayer dollars and hidden from our elected representatives and oversight bodies. For many years, I was entrusted with protecting some of our nation's most sensitive programs. In my last position, I managed a special access program on behalf of the White House and the National Security Council. As such, I appreciate the need to protect certain sensitive intelligence and military information. I consider my oath to protect secrets as sacred, and I will always put the safety of the American people first. With that said, I also understand the consequences of excessive secrecy and stovepiping. Nowhere was this more apparent than in the aftermath of 9/11, which many of us remember all too well. I believe that America's greatness depends on three elements. A watchful Congress, B, a responsive executive branch, and C, an informed public. Over the last decade and a half, I learned that certain UAP programs were and are operating without any of these elements. Although much of my government work on the UAP subject still remains classified, excessive secrecy has led to grave misdeeds against loyal civil servants, military personnel, and the public, all to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos. A small cadre within our own government involved in the UAP topic has created a culture of suppression and intimidation that I've personally been victim to, along with many of my former colleagues. This includes unwarranted criminal investigations, harassment, and efforts to destroy one's credibility. Most Americans would be shocked to learn that the Pentagon's very own Public Affairs Office openly employs a professional psychological operations officer as the singular point of contact for any UAP-related inquiries from citizens and the media. This is unacceptable. Many of my former colleagues and I have provided classified testimony to both the Department of Defense and the Intelligence Community Inspector General, and many of us have subsequently been targeted by this cabal with threats to our careers, our security clearances, and even our lives. This is not hyperbole, but a genuine fact.
Get a clear view of your financial path with the bullet in your back.
Well, thank you there.
Problems that propose three principal actions. First, Congress and the President should create a single point of contact responsible for a whole of government approach to the UAP issue. Currently, the White House, CIA, NASA, the Pentagon, Department of Energy, and others play a role, but no one seems to be in charge, leading to unchecked power and corruption.
Because they're not. You don't know
Second,
who's in
we need a
charge,
national UAP strategy that will promote transparency and help restore the American public's trust at a time when the public trust is at an all-time low. This strategy should include a whole-of-government approach, including the academic and scientific communities, the private sector, and our international partners and allies. Third, Congress should create a protected environment so whistleblowers desperate to do the right thing can come forward without fear. As it currently stands, these whistleblowers suffer because of stigma, a code of silence, and concerns about retaliation. These whistleblowers should be encouraged to come forward in ways that protect them against any forms of retaliation. Policies and procedures should ensure that protection, and for those who refuse to cooperate, it is up to the members of this committee and the other lawmakers to wield their subpoena power against hostile witnesses and prevent additional government funding to those UAP efforts that remain hidden from congressional oversight. In closing, we as Americans have never been afraid of a challenge. In fact, we thrive on them, whether it's eradicating polio or going to the moon. We don't run from a challenge, we take it head on. To the incoming administration and Congress, I say to you, we need immediate public transparency. And this hearing is an important step on that journey. If we approach the UAP topic in the same way as we as Americans have met other challenges, we can restore our faith in our government institutions. Together, we can usher in a new era of accountable government and scientific discovery. I believe that we as Americans can handle the truth. And I also believe the world deserves the truth. Thank you, esteemed members of Congress, for your time today. It is profoundly appreciated.
I would now like to recognize Mr. Schellenberger for his introductory remarks.
Chairwoman Mace, Chairman Grothman, Ranking Member Connolly, Ranking Member Garcia, members of the subcommittees, thank you for inviting my testimony. One of Congress's most important responsibilities is oversight of the executive branch in general and the military and intelligence community in particular.
Mr. Go.
Unfortunately, there is a growing body of evidence that the U.S. government is not being transparent about what it knows about unidentified anomalous phenomena, and that elements within the military and the IC are in violation of their constitutional duty to notify Congress of their operations. President-elect Donald Trump and former President Barack Obama have both said that the government has information about UAPs that it has not released. There are other explanations for UAPs than that they represent a new form of life or non-human life. Current dominant alternative theories, including those put forward by AARO, are that UAPs are some kind of natural phenomena we don't yet understand, like ball lightning or plasma. They could also be part of some new U.S. or foreign government weapons programs, such as drones, aircraft, balloons, CGI, hoaxes, or birds. Whatever UAPs are, Congress must be informed, as must the people of the United States. We have a right to know what UAPs are, no matter what they are. However, we now have existing and former U.S. government officials who have told Congress that AARO and the Pentagon have broken the law by not revealing a significant body of information about UAPs, including military intelligence databases that have evidence of their existence as physical craft. One of those individuals is a current or former U.S. government official acting as a UAP whistleblower. This person has written a report. This is the report that says the executive branch has been managing UAP, NHI issues without congressional knowledge, oversight, or authorization for some time, quite possibly decades. Furthermore, these individuals have revealed the name of an active and highly secretive DoD unacknowledged special access program, or USAP. The source of that document told me, that the USAP is a strategic intelligence program that is part of the U.S. military family of long-standing, highly sensitive programs dealing with various aspects of the UAP problem. The new UAP whistleblower claims that the U.S. military and IC database includes videos and images taken using infrared, forward-looking infrared, full-motion video, and still photography. The report that was just shared with Congress says Immaculate Constellation serves as a central or parent USAP that consolidates observations of UAPs by both tasked and untasked collection platforms. Immaculate Constellation includes high-quality imagery intelligence and measurement and signature intelligence of UAPs, the whistleblower's report adds. The sources of this intelligence are a blend of directed and incidental collection capabilities, positioned in low Earth orbit, the upper atmosphere, as well as military and civilian aviation altitudes and maritime environments. The report to Congress details in detail various UAPs, including spheres, orbs, disks, saucers, ovals, triangles, boomerang, arrowhead, and irregular organic. The report describes various incidents found in the human intelligence databases. One involved orbs surrounding and forcing an F-22 out of its patrol area. In another incident, the crew of a Navy aircraft carrier watched a small orange-red sphere rapidly descend from a high altitude of 100 to 200 yards directly above the flight deck of the CVN, or aircraft carrier. And since my reporting on this Immaculate Constellation last month, another source came forward who told me that they saw a roughly 13-minute-long, high-definition, full-color video of a white orb UAP coming out of the ocean approximately 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait. It was filmed from a helicopter. Then halfway through the video, the person said the orb is another orb that briefly comes into the frame from the left before rapidly moving again out of the frame. The person discovered the video on SIPR, the Secure Internet Protocol Router Network, which the DoD uses to transmit classified information. A leading UAP researcher who utilizes the Freedom of Information Act to find out what the government knows, John Greenwald, told me last year that the U.S. government had been increasingly denying his request for UAP information. He has been doing FOIA requests for 27 years and has an archive of 3 million pages. The government has for decades denied any interest in UFOs, he told me, but the documents that he has assembled show that behind the scenes, it was a completely different story. Contrary to the hopes of many advocates of transparency, the government has been restricting more information since the leak of 3 UAP videos in 2017. The DoD organization AARO has been labeling many documents with a B7 exemption, which Greenwald says does not make any sense. They're stating that anything AARO does is involved in law enforcement investigation, which allows AARO to not release it. Greenwald says the DoD has denied the existence of a UAP and ATIP-related records on multiple occasions, only to acknowledge them after an appeal was filed. He added that the Naval Air Systems Command in March 2022 stated they found no additional UAP videos It seemed strange that they had 3 and only those 3, but other requests had been filed by the Black Vault, that's John Greenwald's group, to seek out more places UAPs might be hiding. Then in September 2022, the Navy admitted that the UAP-related videos and photographs existed, but denied the request in full for their release, saying that the requested videos contain sensitive information that are classified and exempt from disclosure. The DoD will deny things on a Monday and then admit to it on a Friday, said Greenwald. He said the government can and does release videos that protect secret methods of capturing it. They fall back on the sensitive platform excuse a lot, he said. However, the on-screen information can be blurred and scrubbed. The metadata can be removed. I'll show you this example here. This is a presentation from the UATP task force. This is completely absurd. It's nuts, this level of censorship, of redaction on a document. It shows the redaction of how many reports they've collected, for how many years. 2 of the 3 potential explanations are blacked out. The Pentagon, the intelligence community is treating us like children. It's time for us to know the truth about this. I think that we can handle it. Thank you very much.
Oh, I don't know if we can handle it or not, but hey, that was kind of boring. Sorry, people, if I'm bored, Joe, but that was kind of boring. I'm sorry. Was no witnesses there. That's bullshit. They're just crybabies. John Greenwald, I like John Greenwald. You won't hear me saying John Greenwald is a working SOB, man. He's definitely trying to get to the truth.
Wrong button. Yeah, he's all over Ancient Aliens, John. At least for the early season, anyway.
Yeah, he was. I actually inherited Wake Up USA from John Greenwald.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I got to talk to him a couple times, and then we had a mutual friend, Karen Dolan. As a matter of fact, we used to be on his network. You could probably still find some of our archives from this show on his network. But it's
Karen is Richard's wife or sister?
Ex-wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ex-wife. Yeah, they've been divorced for I don't know a while now. We're talking about the Dolans, yes, Karen and Richard Dolan, yes. Karen's off on her own thing. Yeah, she's a. No, I like Karen. She's an interesting person. She's also a cancer survivor, breast cancer survivor at that. So she, it's weird. I had like 5 female friends. All get breast cancer at the same time. 4 of them survived, 1 of them passed. It was insane, man. 3 and all 4 of them knew me either through radio station or iCar. Yeah, even I got kind of like, wow. 3 of them were like way top researchers for me. I know, I was kind of like, man, it's getting a little weird. Well, we was in some heavy shit back then. We still are, but today it's different because a lot of the stuff has already been laid out. So today it's just more like gathering data from everything else we've had. It's not the same. What's that, Jimmy? It's not the same. It's like when we talk about alien abductions, we talk at a much different view than the rest of the world does because we've just simply got more cases than anybody out there. And it's not even that. I mean, there's a lot of groups that like working for us. When I remember, this is 20 years ago, I got a letter from a group from Portugal. And they said they would like to do a case study for us in their area. And what was our base case study? I said 5,000 because we were working with a group in Brazil at the time. So they did a fabulous job. It was mostly reptilian stuff, but it was a that's just what came out of it. It was mostly reptilians, but they did a fabulous stuff. I mean, the stuff with the grays and the humans included, but now the one out of South America was mostly, believe it or not, human type aliens, which surprised me because I'd have thought it would have been much more reptilians because of the Incans, the Mayans, the Toltecs, because they definitely had a reptilian theme to them. But I think like the Nazcans and some of the other aliens, that's who was visiting them. Maybe even the Toltecs. It was weird. But anyway, we worked for them for a while, and then we worked with a couple other groups. But we inherited, well, that's a bad way of saying it, but we were given 35, 40, about 38,000 cases between the 5 or 6 country groups that we were working with that were now members of ICAR. And then I remember this little dude, 16 years old, ICAR's a year old. He comes in from India. He goes, I want to be a director. I said, dude, you're 16. He said, my family's rich. I said, it got nothing to do with it, dude. You're 16. What do you know about anything? So he became my Padawan learner. He's a fabulous director. They've probably got 20 or 30,000 of their own cases there now. I mean, the organization last time I checked was somewhere between 20 and 120 or 140,000 cases worldwide. So nobody else can boast that. No group of organizations together can boast that. It just puts us in it just gives us a different point of view and a different way of looking at things and a different understanding of what is a real abduction. We talked about missing babies recently, actually. Yeah, sorry for that skip. No, we did. We talked about missing babies just recently. They don't
actually quite frequently on the show have we talked about that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Well, for some reason, and I couldn't tell you why. I mean, we have our theories, but throughout the 90s, the whole entire decade of the 90s, maybe the first 5 years of 2000, there seemed to be a buttload of these missing baby cases. Well over 5,000 we document. I couldn't even tell you who else documented.
Now, are we talking born missing or still in the womb
So
missing?
this is we'll do the rundown. So Jay's pregnant, he's about 6 weeks now. He goes to the doctor. He gets, they kill the rabbit. They don't do that anymore, people. But anyway, because we're old, shows you how old I am. Anyway, he gets the test, says he's pregnant. He's like, oh, I never had a baby before. Maybe I should get an ultrasound, make sure the baby's okay. So he gets an ultrasound. Sees, by the way, he's a billionaire because he's a guy. But anyway, in fact, he gets the ultrasound and everything's good. And you see the baby, everything's good for, four limbs, a head, and nose. You can see it. It's about 8 weeks, 9 weeks old. Yeah, maybe even 3 months. And then you wake up at 3 months and 1 day and you're not pregnant. Not only you're not pregnant, there's no belly. The hormones are back in line. There's no out of whack hormones. As far as the doctors can tell by every test they give you, you were never pregnant. So that they can't say it was a false pregnancy because, one, you passed the pregnancy test, which does happen sometimes, but there was an ultrasound, which showed a physically real baby, which, by the way, you still have the picture of. But now the baby is gone.
And by the way, depending on what kind of machine they use, a newer machine would, if it's a digital machine, and I think most of them do record digitally now. There's not only the hard copies that they can print out for you. There's a disc or maybe a flash drive of the actual video of the sonogram, and then there's also there's metadata on both the printouts and the file that holds the video, so it can be confirmed.
Yeah. So anyway, it goes, and I'm sure there's more cases in it, but that's the 5,000s is.
Oh yeah, it was very prevalent in the 80s as well. But
the
technology of sonograms back then wasn't as good as today, and it probably wasn't recorded digitally.
And for some reason, they don't really count the 80s, even though I agree there were cases throughout the 80s. For some reason, I think they became so brazen in the 90s that even the researchers had to step up and say, oh, shit, what is this?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, they were gone. So here you are, you're a woman. You went from getting full-blown pregnant, you're 3 months into your second trimester, going your second trimester. Life's like, wow. Oh, you're in your second trimester. You're like, okay, I'm getting ready. Your hormones are changing. The way you think is changing. And then nothing. Bam.
Yeah, and there's also no secondary signs, like no milk production, no stretching of the skin, no indications that the uterus was even had a menstrual cycle yet.
It is, as far as every doctor who looks at them all said the same thing. You couldn't tell they were pregnant.
No indication.
If they would not have seen the original test, they would have thought, oh no, this was a false pregnancy. But so no one to this day, and here we are, 20. So we'll say 40 years this has been going on. So here we are, 25
longer,
years.
But yeah.
But here we are, 20 years after the date we just gave in 2005, and still no one can figure out what the hell is going on. Now they don't really happen here as much, and I think today, I think it's more about. See, back then they were working some kind of program, but today I think it's more about what's her name? What was her name? Oh God, I can't remember her name now. The book was Rachel Eyes, but anyway, and I think if you're too close to them and not to us, they have to take you.
Yeah, I
If you
think it's
look
an
too
aesthetic
wrong,
thing.
or
The look of the child is not human enough to pass walking through the,
yes,
on Earth.
even if it is like some kind of deforms or something, that's kind of just weirds them out. But there's also abilities. I think they worry about certain abilities, especially telekinesis or things like that.
Especially the mental abilities. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if they're those developed too, they can't stay. So so it makes sense that some of them have to go.
And the few stories that were prominent in the 80s, I mean, they're on shows like, Believe It or Not, and those kind of, mystery shows, Unsolved Mysteries, had a few of them. The women are taken back years later by probably the same group, probably the same individuals, maybe even in the same vessel, but they're shown the child at usually somewhere around 8 or 9 or maybe preteen age, briefly for a few hours, and then they're brought back to her. Then they're allowed to remember the entire incident from
Well,
beginning to end.
so it's definitely some human DNA involved. Mostly. Actually, see, in the beginning, everybody always thought that the aliens were here trying to fix something wrong with it. No, that's not what they were doing. And even if they were, they wouldn't be polluting themselves with lowly human DNA. Okay, let's just get that straight now. The freaking Greys think you were pets. You're not putting no pets' DNA in you. It's not going to happen.
The Greys also have evolved to a level where they don't have pets. And in fact, the Greys have boasted that on their home world, all the lesser animals were destroyed by them. Like whatever, if their version of deer, cat, dog, bird, fish, insect, whatever, they destroyed all of that, which I wouldn't be very proud of. That doesn't really tell me they're very.
Well, no, I mean, since the light beams got here, I think they've been altered yet again. But
probably so. But I mean, they boast at least I don't know if it's the Zeta Reticulan Greys or one of the other 4 or 5 races that appear the same.
They all the same
race, but the fact is that they boast about having destroyed all their lesser animals, and we kind of have an affinity with ours. Some are pets, some are work animals, and some we raise strictly for food, and so we don't get chummy with them.
What's it? Well, no, the Greys. So the Greys actually have one home world, but they have multiple colonies, just like the other races do. But when the before the light beams came here, they would have been considered pretty hostile, pretty destructive. Not so much whoever they were against in whatever war was going on.
They were described to me by one person as kind of like the aliens from Independence Day, hive mind mentality.
They're hive mind mentality.
And then would travel to lesser advanced worlds on purpose so they wouldn't get hurt in the process of taking over the planet and consuming all of the goods, and then on to the next one.
But these are different because these Greys work for the light beams to keep the peace in the galaxy. That's what their job is.
Their prior history, though, is at least the one of the groups that they fought with allegedly. Again, we don't have any proof. And even if there's an alien on the show with us telling us these stories, it would still be hearsay. But the hearsay is that they had a war with the group that calls themselves the Anunnaki here on Earth. They became friends and they shared technology. And then once the Anunnaki realized they had been duped and their world was being consumed by the Greys, it was over. And this is hundreds of thousands of years ago, though. However,
yeah, the Great. Well, no. So I think I think that's why they start those stories, because if what they're saying is true, the light beams would have got here, I don't know, 300, 500 million, maybe 1 billion years ago, maybe longer. Actually, I'm thinking more like 2. I'm thinking it probably took them quite a long time to end the war, because from what everybody says, it was just some massive 500 world race war just going at it. Everybody was just going at it. And anything was fair game back then, I would imagine. But for some reason, when the light beams came here, they chose the Greys out of all the other species in this galaxy to modify. I mean, they said, no, you're the guy.
They were the most advanced, I would think.
Yeah, well, they were definitely the most advanced. But even then, I would give them a magnitude to say for us, they're like a magnitude of 5,000. But for like the Greys and reptilians, there would have probably been a magnitude of like 50. So it would have been closer. But once, I don't think they had organic ships until after the light beings got here. But there's no way for knowing.
No way to verify their equipment.
And they're not going to tell us. They're going to be like, oh, you want to know what? We're not telling you when we got. Let's get the hell out of here. The other races probably want to know that question.
In their violent era, they could have acquired that technology because they would have been like an organic Borg, going to different planets, becoming chummy with them, and then slowly taking over, consuming the raw goods of the planet, getting rid of the host population, and then also adapting their technology into their own. I'm sure. I mean, if you have to think of all the stars out there. I mean, there are over 300 planet-sized objects in our solar system.
Yeah.
So think about
God
how many
only knows
planets
what's living
are
here,
everywhere.
yeah.
There's got to be one planet with a technology that's won't kill you, but it's better than what you already have. They would absorb that and move on to another planet and absorb another technology and another. So they're kind of like an organic Borg.
District 9 was a squirrely weird movie.
It was, yeah, it was kind of scary too, yeah.
It was definitely a weird movie. There's no doubt about that. It was one of those. Oh, you mean 1941? That was another weird movie. What was the one where the aliens attacked and they were in LA, but it wasn't. It was near now. It was like somewhere in this time period.
Pacific Rim.
No, it wasn't that one. I remember this was something else. They shot these things off and they rolled across the ships and cut holes. And oh man, I can't remember.
There's one called The Battle for LA. That might be what you're thinking of.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is a Battle for LA. That might be what it is.
Yeah. There's a couple of good alien invasion movies out there, and some are better than others. But that was a good one.
So Jack. So what do you mean? Why do they take our citizens? Well, why not take our citizens? They're here. So why do we take a bear? Why do we take a lion? Why do we tag even little insects? We tag everything on the friggin' planet. Have you ever been like in Smithsonian? Just their insect section alone probably has 10 million things.
They have the carcass, and they've had it for decades. They have a carcass of a giant squid there, and yet it's in the museum. If you go to Washington D.C. right now, well, it's closed. You'll get in trouble. But to go tomorrow when they open. The Museum of Natural History of the Smithsonian in downtown Washington, D.C. has a 65-foot long formaldehyde tank with a dead giant squid in it. And right above that is a model of the blue whale, a 1-to-1 scale model. It takes up the entire room. You must go see it. But yet modern science didn't declare it a real species until just recently.
Yeah, that's
Smithsonian's had it for decades. I saw it when I was a kid. I'm 58 years old.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find all kind of life in our solar system. Don't even worry about that. All kind of weird stuff. Some's gonna be big. Some's gonna be
life
little.
in space.
Yes, we're just gonna find stuff all over the place. Once we get out and start moving around, really, we're gonna find stuff on Mars. Oh yeah, there's stuff on Mars. We're gonna find. Look, every prediction I have made about Mars so far has come true. So I'm saying yes.
Even if they go into a cave and find mold on the wall, Joe's right. That's life form. Mold is a life form.
Well, go back and look at Wake Up USA. So when I started hosting Wake Up USA, we used to do a Mars special every week, and I would tell you what I think was going to happen, and what things were, and what was going on. And I even talked about the desensitization program as Mars being part of it, because it is letting us know there's life on Mars. I mean, NASA just said the other day they're pretty sure there's life on Mars, and they're not even trying to argue about it anymore. They're just waiting to say that they can say they found it. And then I'm telling you, after that, they're going to see just like this Pentagon thing showing, there's aliens, but they don't seem to be really bothering us. They're going to find some kind of artifact on Mars to prove that there is advanced technical alien life out there. But that still won't be open contact.
What's the doctor's name? Is it Dr. John Brandenburg? I can't remember his last name, but he's a physicist that worked with the DOD and did all kinds of top secret stuff. And he detected with, or not he, but he was a part of some, I guess, the analysis of the atmosphere of Mars, and they detected the type of radiation that can only be done by a mechanical bomb made by someone else, not a natural explosion, but an unnatural one. And there were 2 hot spots on Mars of unnatural nuclear devastation. That's significant.
No, we're We're gonna find there's a lot went on Mars that we don't know about. We're gonna find there's a lot of water on Mars, which we just recently found our first big frozen lake. So now we know there's frozen lakes and stuff. Because the argument's always been, where did the water on Mars go? Most people say, oh, it just evaporated because of the low environment, low pressure, and the
Nazi
low
says it was
gravity.
ripped from the planet and dropped upon us.
Yes, and some of it may have been, but some of it looks like it was left behind. So we had the two caps, which have a big chunk of water.
They're significant pieces, those ice caps.
And then now we found this big lake, which they think is very deep and very long. So, and Mars is just covered with dust. So we'll run across more and more of these. And there's other places where they have seen liquid outcrops of flowing water on Mars.
Yeah,
so
we've played that video here. That's a very cool video.
Yeah, so we know there's water on Mars now. Okay, no, these aren't lava, because lava would leave clumps of stuff behind it.
And lava would also smoke.
Yes, and
as it burns the earth, it travels through.
They did just recently think, being worried that there may be some life left in Mars's system. It's volcano system. Yes. They just recently seen something that suggests maybe it still may have partial life somewhere.
If there's volcanic activity, there's probably inside the volcanic cauldron, there's probably not lichens, but what do you call extremophiles living on the walls of that volcano, and they could easily find them. Yeah,
so they do think. Well, no, there is heat on Mars. I mean, it does get above freezing some days. It's one of those things. But anyway, if you ever want to go see, you can always just go listen to Wake Up USA, and you'll hear all of those things have come to pass. Now, hey, what's up, Chicky?
Hello.
Are we 30 yet? We got a birthday soon, don't we? Are we 30 yet? She's going to be 30 soon, people.
I wish.
Yeah.
30, 29. Is that what it is? 30? What is it? 30? I don't know.
Women stop aging at 29, men at 39. So next year will be the 20th anniversary of my 39th birthday.
But y'all wish her happy birthday, because I have no idea. I'm bad with days, man. What are you talking about?
It's Friday.
Oh, this Friday?
Birthday. Yep.
Oh, happy 30th. Woohoo! Woohoo! Oh, that's right. Friday. Stop by Friday night, and I'll make Jay sing happy birthday to you. Oh, no, better yet. No, better yet. I have something. Stop by, and I have something that we can hook you up.
I'll cue up a good song for you.
Do any of your viewers
pizza?
We're gonna have to go beat the crap. And so, did somebody just put pizza on my screen?
Yes.
Do you want to live to be like to your 30th? You better stop this.
Oh my God, Leah, email me a slice of that.
That's the best pizza in the world. It's from a place called Pizza and Subs here in Rock Island.
Just by judging by that pizza, I'm never ever gonna need to try their subs. That pizza looks awesome.
That pizza's great.
Is it a 16-inch pie or 12?
I think it's a big one. It might be
16-inch.
Yeah, probably. It's pretty big.
We have a place here. 12. Our place here is Arturo's, our go-to guys. They're awesome. It's owned by a nice family. They're very nice people, but they make a 30-inch Sicilian pie. 30-inch square Sicilian pie. Think about that. That's huge.
Huge.
Oh, Jay, I have to tell you, the Fat Boys one day, they make one so big you got to open the double doors and get it out.
Oh crap!
I had to lay my seats down in my car to get a damn thing in my car. It's huge, man. It's huge. It's but they make a pretty 30-inch. But that's why they call them Fat Boys, man. They got a 2-foot slice that if you can eat it under 2 minutes, they give you all kind of fun things.
Oh, nice.
And the guy who holds the record has it for 36 seconds. How do you? I mean, do y'all know a 2-foot piece of pizza is like this wide and this long?
Somebody ate a whole 30-inch pizza in how long? 12 seconds?
No, it's a 2-foot slice. A 2-foot.
It's a 2-foot slice. It's 2 foot long and 2 foot wide at the top.
And how long did it take to be consumed?
36 seconds.
That I'm calling bullshit on that.
I did too, but they got
my Big Mac record is 30 seconds, and the Big Mac is this goddamn big.
Yeah, but look, they got the video up there and everything, man. I was
no
like,
way.
I couldn't.
There's no way. In 30
it was just he did this number, and in one bite, half it was gone. I was like,
I'd
get
have to
the
see it to believe it. There's no way.
out of
Maybe
here.
a normal human, maybe a guy the size of like Andre the
So
Giant.
this is a good
big
segue back
kid.
into aliens because only an alien can eat a piece of pizza that big.
Yeah, because they can
Now we know.
unlock their jaw. It's like a snake.
So one of the reptilians stopped by Fat Boys and had
Hey,
some lunch.
Steven.
Hey, Steven, how you doing? Yeah. So one of the shut up. One of the reptilians stopped by Fat Boys, got him a pizza. Fat Boys got good pizza, man. Oh yeah. They in Old Metairie. Well, they're all over now, but they got good pizza. Anyway, getting off the pizza, she needs to go eat her pizza.
Just for the record, pizza is not off subject because UFOs are what? Disc shaped. Thank you very much.
I was going to say vegetarian or like...
No, it's a saucer. It's a saucer of pie.
Only Kamala Harris people eat pizzas.
And have you ever been to a pizza place where they throw the dough in the air?
I've never been to one of those.
Oh my God. When I was in college, some guys down there, I don't remember their names, but they had a bike shop and they sold it, and then they opened up a pizza place because I had art college there. They called it Vinnie Van Gogh-Go's after Vinnie Van Gogh, and they tossed the pie and they did the whole.
Oh yeah, well, Fat Boys does. So does Brooklyn Pizza. All of them, they get out there tossing it around. It's fun to watch. No, Jack, no, I know. I promise. We'll get off the pizza. We'll get off the pizza. It's
Do any of your viewers or listeners play No Man's Sky?
No, they said it's a boring game.
No, it's not.
They said it's a boring game. What can I say? Look, 3 people on the road just realized it's boring.
Did you play No Man's Sky there, Steve?
Steve says boring.
My coworkers. He does.
Steve's like, it's boring.
He's probably not answering.
He's like, no, man, this is boring. If it ain't got a real alien, it's boring. What's that, Jackie? No. Anyway, getting back to what we're talking about. So, if y'all are watching the congressional thing today, just you can write to us, let us know what you think about it. So, do you think did you get anything out of this? Do you feel like tomorrow that we're going to know aliens are for real? I mean, what do you feel like came out of this for the people who are watching it today? Do y'all feel enlightened?
So one of the comments
You're never too old, Eugenio. Never stop playing.
I saw somebody commenting about how they wanted this, they wanted input on the UAP hearings without the mention of extraterrestrial life, like without it implying that there was any non-human intelligence involved.
NHI.
It's
So what would that mean? That
it sounds very much like what they did with the political arena just recently. I'd hate to bring that subject up, but they did this the very same thing when they went to the debates, particularly. I'm sure Joe Biden said, you can ask me anything but these questions. Don't ask these kind of questions. And same with Kamala Harris. Here's a list of questions. These are the only ones you can ask me. They're padding it so they don't have to give out any information.
Well, this was just a viewer's take on it. There was a comment that I saw on a subreddit about how that was what their desire was to have these hearings without implying the presence of non-human intelligence or the involvement of non-human intelligence in regards to the UAPs.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was trying to get across. They're padding it so they don't have to give out the direct answers. So if you can't talk about extraterrestrials, you go, well, who else is operating them?
Right.
It can't be just us. I mean, if it was just us, why keep the secret?
Exactly.
If I was president and all the UAP phenomenon on Earth was only U.S. based technology, I would be tempted to take over the planet. I mean, wouldn't anybody else? I mean, think about the technology of those devices, what they can do and what they can't do.
Well, I think we've got access to a lot of the
technologies. I'm fairly certain that the bulk of them aren't operated by us. If it was, there'd be World War III already. Whoever had that technology would use it to take over the planet. I'm quite certain. I would try.
Well, yeah, I'd give it a good try.
Yeah, the people from a good standpoint of wanting to do the right thing would do it in the wrong way, just like Hitler. Hitler had a good idea. People get mad at me for saying this. We would not. None of us would be harmed by a world government. Most states, England would be like a state, Russia would be like a state, but the whole planet would be run by a singular government. It's not a bad thing. Just the way
Isn't that
he said
what the
about
New
doing
World
it,
Order is?
killing off half the planet is not the way to start a whole new world.
Isn't that what they consider to be the New World Order? One world government?
Yes,
And,
that's absolutely it. Yeah. A lot of people think it's a bad idea. Some people think it's a good idea. Personally, I'm in the middle because we can't find out until we try, and there's only one way to try. Either you do it by a war of attrition and take over the planet, or everybody.
Let's just look at it. Let's just look at it a different way. We're not getting into deep space without being a united planet, so we might as well start getting
we won't
united.
be able to do it without. If we're not a team, we're not going to go any further.
Unless somebody comes up with cheap warp drive and cheap sensors that can see thousands of light years ahead, and we're not going anywhere. So
a one world government would wipe out culture, like whatever culture.
Why would it do that?
Because it would homogenize humanity.
No, think about it. Where do you live right now?
In the United States.
Okay, and what is the United States? A one world government, a one country government.
It's compromised with many
but
small states.
That's my point. And everybody here has their own little quirks, don't they? Mm-hmm. Every state has its own. It'd be the same thing in a world government, except it would just be countries instead of
almost every state below Maryland has a different accent than everyone above Maryland.
Yeah.
Once you start hitting like Pennsylvania,
but when you go to a place
like the Northwestern, like Ohio, like my cousins in Ohio, they don't say Coke, they say Pop. When they say, "Hey, Mom and Pop, Mom and Dad, take me to get some Pop."
When you go to use Kazakhstan or whatever, other country around the other side of the globe, they view the United States as like one. If they were to do a caricature or an impression of an American, it would be very specific. If anyone else outside of the United States were looking in, they don't see those.
No, that's not true. The Europeans do. The Europeans, because they experience it themselves. I hear people talk. See, when I'm talking in Europe, people tell me all the time, "I love your Southern accent." They know it's a Southern accent.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, they know it's specific to Louisiana. That's how much they know our accent.
Some places, yeah.
Well, for the modern world, we'll say they're pretty much already familiar with this because we all have the same internet and same TVs.
But the point is, you're not going to lose the diversity, especially the accents. That's not going to change. And if you go to England, the same thing. They have the same diversity of dialects in England and accents from the north to the south. You're not going to lose cultural stuff because what in our government, if our government, let's just say American style of government, ruled the whole planet, there's nothing in our system of government that precludes people from doing their ancient rituals. Live sacrifice and digging people's hearts out and throwing them into a fire pit. As long as they're not doing that kind of thing, I don't think anyone's culture would be any way adversely affected.
Yeah,
you don't think that it would change
Cinco de Mayo that we all party to,
or their
it'll change the economies for the better.
Here's a good example. McDonald's in the Philippines has spaghetti. McDonald's throughout the United States, there are different menus. Like down south, you can get tacos.
I hear the United States has the worst version of McDonald's.
Huh?
I heard the United States has the worst version of McDonald's.
Well, even in the United States, but even in the United States, not all versions of McDonald's are the same. Yeah. So when I was at GM way back in the day, we were allowed to pick if we wanted soybean meat or real meat. It was always 100% beef in the store. We were allowed to do all fresh vegetables. It was up to the manager and his quota, what kind of money he was making, to do what he wanted. So And then there's places in America like that stupid barbecue thing. It's in some places, not in other places. It's even Burger King and all them do that. So the pizza places do it. They do it to areas.
They have regional diverse menus. It's I don't think there's any aspect in our lives that you won't find any sort of diversity.
And then you go overseas. What does McDonald's give you? They give you a squid bun. So it's made with squid ink, the buns over there. They're black buns.
Would that mean that there would be one universal language at that time too? Because we would all have to be able to
eventually,
communicate with each other.
4 or 5 languages, so we can all, get.
The universal language in the world is English. You can't.
Right now.
All air traffic controllers have to speak English. Whatever country they're in, it doesn't matter where they are. They all have to speak English. All pilots and all air traffic controllers. But they can speak whatever other language they want. Nobody cares about that.
Is it true that English is just a language that was created to sustain?
That's true too, Eugene.
Like commerce, sales, and stuff like that. Like it's meant for the commoner who does, it's like business lingo.
No, English is just a language that we learned from our forefathers and changed it into what we like.
Yeah,
you forget the British spoke English. Yeah. Yeah. So we just speak English because that's who put us here for the most part. But we just come from, we gave it all kind of little accents
But there is the Bible story of Babylon, where God or Anu or the Anunnaki changed it so that we didn't have all a universal language. Also made it so that it's at some point in the Bible we are able to also speak to the animals. I mean, not just living with them in nature, but they didn't try to harm, like lions and tigers and bears.
I think that's more the full-blooded. That's probably more the full-blooded alien ones.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Christopher said it's Beastmaster,
but that's how the Bible portrays the beginning of our species. Is we were at one with the universe, we could talk to the animals, and then there was the rift, and then we couldn't, and then there was another rift, and then we couldn't talk to each other. So
yeah, and why you got to wonder why. I mean, we know why, what the excuse was back then, but still, was the world growing too fast? Is that what was happening? With all of us speaking one language, things would have moved along a lot faster.
If we only go back 100 years, with 2024, we go back to 1924, television didn't exist. 1924, there was no such thing as television. They were working on it, but they didn't really have it yet. So the most thing that people had for entertainment was radio.
Yeah, radio shows too.
And the movies. Movies were just starting up at that same time too, and they weren't that popular. Movies really hit more towards the late 20s, 28, 29, 30. But that's
because they didn't have anybody. They were
radio, live entertainment, and a few movies. Think about that.
Yeah,
it's just 100 years ago.
And those movies were silent movies at that.
They were silent. They were black and white. And if there was any dialogue, it was shown on what are called now cue cards. Someone would say something, then there would be a card showed up with what they said. Then that would go away. They would do some more action, then another card of what was going on. It was kind of hard to watch, some of them.
That was a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I know. We keep getting off track. I know.
I'm sorry.
Well, that's to prove, Joe's point of, were we moving too fast as a species? Well, yeah. I mean, just think about that 100-year span. We have gone from radio to now I'm in Pennsylvania. Joe's in Louisiana. Leah's in Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah, she's in hell.
Add that together, that's over 1,000 miles apart. And we're talking together live.
She's in hell.
Star Trek. I mean, this is the future. So in 100 years from now, where are we going to be? We're going to be on this planet. We're going to be on 15 other planets.
I'm gonna be like Elon. You're taking her 2 minutes to bed. Push your ass over, buddy.
Whatever happened to Elon sending people to Mars?
That ain't going nowhere. No, that ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that ain't changed.
People see Elon doing all this stuff and think Elon's not paying attention to what's going on in SpaceX. He knows exactly what the hell's
Yeah,
going on.
and
in
if you get the
SpaceX.
cabinet position with Trump, that his timeline may actually come sooner.
Did you hear what they called
He
their
might
new
need to
little
come
like?
sooner.
It's Doge.
Huh?
Do what?
The Department of 5 words. I don't remember the Department of something. I don't know. It's whatever the Vivek guy and Elon Musk are in charge of now. But the abbreviated version of it spells out Doge.
Well, they'll have to change it. It's they won't call it by that anyway. They only call it by the first 3 letters, like all the alphabet organizations do.
Mm-hmm. They like it in 3s, that's for sure.
Yeah, DHS.
There's a few with more, but not many.
So, well, we'll talk about this on Friday, but we got to talk about Telsey and what Telsey's been up to. She's definitely an alien. I have no doubt about Telsey Gabbard's an alien. It's that's why she switched to the Republicans, because there's no aliens in the Democratic side. There's no blue aliens. Oh wait, shit, there are actually. Damn.
If they're blue, that's the whole Democratic Party.
Oh man, we're in trouble, man. Oh man, we're in real trouble.
Oh, so that means the Andorians and the Bolians from Star Trek are
Oh,
both
we're in
Democrats.
trouble, man. We're outvoted now. No, Pete, we're just teasing, man. No, the Grays, because the Grays aren't really. Anyway, we're not going to get into it.
What? Get into what?
Not going to get into that. So y'all save up your stuff. We'll talk a little bit about what went on in Congress on Friday.
And check it out, Leah. You got a fan.
What?
Eugenio likes you because you have the same. You think the same type of questions he comes up with.
Yeah, but she's on the wrong show for those questions. She needs to be on the Friday night show for those questions. There's a lot of good stuff this Friday. We took last Friday off. We kind of took it. We didn't take it off, but we took a respite.
We took a much needed break.
Yes. Well, there was no polls. That was so weird, man. At the end of the show, there was no polls to do.
Yeah.
After a year of doing it, it was almost like an addiction. You're like,
Get back in the habit of doing like the first half news, second half UFOs.
Did you guys have a show last Wednesday?
No, we
took it off. We took it off.
I
don't know about you, Joe, but I was. Well, yeah, I do know about you. You were asleep. I got home from work and I was dead tired.
We did 7 hours.
I did 5. So
he did 5. I did 7.
And then you woke up again at like 6 a.m. and got back on for 3 months.
and did a recap because I had known before I had gone to bed that he had won, but I got up that morning just to announce it to all our regular listeners. And
well, and to confirm it because it wasn't confirmed when I went to bed. So
yeah, when Laura Lee and I was on, we was wrapping up. He was at 267. I wasn't worried about it then because I knew he was going to pull Alaska in the last 3. But anyway, he won that, and that's just the way it went. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever you voted for, it doesn't matter when it comes to aliens. Okay, I don't think the aliens really care who they're probing politically. They don't take any more pleasure in a Republican or a Democrat.
But we have talked about this on the show several times in the last few weeks. Again, also, we talked about, do they have religion? Do they have government? And I said, well, they have to have some form of government, and they probably at one point, way back history, they had a religion. Because they instilled both of those concepts into early Earth, if we're to believe the ancient astronaut theory.
What was that?
They're at least aware of the concept, whether they believe them or they found them from other cultures. The gray aliens, the Anunnaki, the reptilians, they all instilled in us several control systems: government, religion, and
right.
Wasn't
there a video from Bob Lazar talking about how we're humans are containers and that the alien races from back in the day just like they created religion as a means to keep us from destroying those containers?
Well, I think it's not just that. I think yes, it's a control method, but it was also almost every religion has a procreation clause. Go forth and breed. Kind of thing. So I think it wasn't just that. I think it was, stay in control, don't kill your neighbor, and make a lot of other babies. I think that was the main emphasis, at least for most early religions, is to procreate and worship your God and be good.
What does it mean when you don't have that that urge to procreate wasn't instilled in your psyche.
Well,
Like it's not.
that's what the religious ceremonies were for. Were to every Sunday or Saturday, whatever day you went to your mass. And, some people, devout Catholics go Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. They go three times a week. My dad went 4 times a week sometimes. But that's those ceremonies when they, like Eucharist and all that. That was to inspire and make everyone think you have hope for an immortal life. And the more people are happy, the more they want to procreate. So that's where the
Well, somewhere along the lines it switched to really raunchy, like X-rated music that's being pumped out for all of society to like think is normal. I don't know. There's a lot of sexualizing and objectifying, not just women but men too, and all sorts of entertainment.
Well, yeah, ancient Rome, they had thousands of different orgy parties. The emperor and the nobles had these raunchy parties where
that's why the aliens come here. Earth girls are easy.
I just think it's weird that it's like normalizing a part of human nature that's supposed to be private and sacred.
If y'all don't save this for Friday, I'm gonna kick y'all both in the ass in about 2 seconds.
All right.
Friday night, you got nothing to do with UFOs.
Yeah, huh?
Nuh-uh, you got nothing to do with UFOs. Who's Paul Hillier?
UFOs are the ones that are wanting us to like bang everything that has walks on 2 legs.
That's called hormones.
Yeah, the UFOs didn't want us to breed. They just gave us those religious things, and we ran the ball with it. And
yes, we said we're not doing that. We're evil.
Yeah.
Who is Paul Hillier?
Paul Hillier is the former Canadian Secretary of Defense, I believe.
And he says he claims
very outspoken UFO guy.
Yeah, he claims multiple alien species are already here in contact with the government.
Yes, he does.
And one of them's named.
Been claiming that too for probably about 30 years.
Okay, who's this next one? Phil Corso.
Philip J. Corso, Colonel, USAF retired, deceased, wrote the book The Day After Roswell. Excellent book. Go out and get it. Read it. Basically, what his job was, he was the director of the U.S. Air Force's Air Materiel Command, based out of the Pentagon in Virginia. And he took particles from the UFO crash in Roswell, allegedly, and cycled or funneled those objects into DoD top secret projects that might be able to benefit from their use.
Yeah, he said allegedly.
We got a lot
allegedly reverse engineer stuff. Yes, no, that's an excellent answer. Okay, and this next one's a personal hero of mine, which I've met a couple of times. I got to sit down and speak to, had lunch with him, dinner with him. So, very interesting guy, Edgar Mitchell. Anybody knows who he is? Anybody?
Edgar Mitchell is a former astronaut and outspoken alien astronaut theorist.
Jeffrey, he is from Apollo 14.
Yes, I can remember Apollo.
He's talked about extraterrestrials many other times.
Steve does play the game. But
now, this next one, I have met him. He's kind of, I've talked with this guy. Now, I've talked to this next one a couple of times. Yeah,
who's the next one?
Gordon Cooper.
Oh, Gordon C. Cooper. Don't remember. Is he Apollo 12 or not 13? But he
was a Mercury astronaut.
He was a Mercury. Okay, yeah, he was before the Apollo. He I think he went out as a colonel, but before he went out after his astronaut, or maybe it was before his astronaut experiences. Yeah, it had to be before. He allegedly filmed the UFOs landing at I believe Brandenburg, meeting with Eisenhower. And he has talked about that video, that it's very good. Not video, film, cellular film.
All it says on here is he
was able to watch it through a projector, but the film looked well developed, and he sent it to DC and never saw it again.
So all it said on here was he witnessed a yap and became a strong advocate. Robert Dean.
Robert O. Dean. staff sergeant, I believe.
Yep,
Also
he's
Air Force.
Yeah, he's Air
Um,
Force. NATO
long
documents
white hair.
describe an alien contact. Yes.
Yep. Very,
Yes,
very good, outspoken gentleman. He's passed.
Now for the rest of y'all, some of y'all might not have known these names. Now this next one, all y'all should know. John Podesta.
Isn't he who was supposedly the biological father of Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park?
I don't know, but he's the former White House chief of staff. I know that. Only
He was like Hillary Clinton.
Well, former chief of staff of what was it? Clinton and Obama, or Bush?
It doesn't say, but I think he was. I think he was for both.
Yeah.
Or was it?
I don't know, Eugenio. I mean, yeah, he may be bad because he's a Democrat. We won't hold that against him. But he was at one point a very powerful and dangerous man. At one point, I don't think he is anymore.
Not nowadays. He's probably not as dangerous. Louis Elizondo. I'm saying that last name wrong. Former head of
Elizondo. We saw his video earlier. He was just.
Oh yeah, that's right, huh?
Yeah.
Shit. Sorry, guys and girls. Yes, he just Colonel Charles Halt.
Oh, Colonel Charles Halt. He's one of my favorite dudes. Bentwaters.
Bentwaters, yes. He's a Bentwaters case. RFA Bentwaters.
What is Black Rock? Is that another Friday question?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, no. Wait, is it Blackstone? Okay, one of them does all kind of military stuff, and one of them buys up.
And one isn't.
One of them buys up companies. I think it's Blackstone buys up company, and BlackRock is.
I think BlackRock is a top secret military installation somewhere.
Yeah, and then Blackstone is the corporation that buys up companies. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong.
Keep in mind also.
So BlackRock's the companies.
Yeah, they got BlackRock company, and there's a company. They do what do you call them? Mercenary stuff.
That's Blackwater. BlackRock is
there's too many BlackRock
is who owns everything basically.
That would be Blackstone because they own a bunch. So I'm saying there's no such thing as anybody owning everything. It's just too much to own, and I doubt anybody owns as much as Elon Musk does.
Well, that sounds like a Friday question also because
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh well. Since we're on that, let's see. Harry Reid, former U.S. Senator, secured funding for YAP research program and spoke about YAP. I hate the word YAP, by the acronym YAP. That is the stupidest yapping thing I've ever heard. I'm just saying. And who's this Israel guy? Wait, who is this guy? Head of Israel Space Security mentioned Galactic Federation and suggested an extraterrestrial base on Mars. Well, ain't you just a sweet guy? Haman Assad, that's his name. Let's see. Adding Commander Gordon, Buthen, Dr. John Witzenberg, Colonel Ricardo, butchered that name up, and that's it. And so they just go on. This list goes on. It's an interesting list. None of them with the power to prove extraterrestrials are real.
Well, I don't see how you can't say they're not. I mean, we don't have as many years on this planet as.
Oh, well, wait. But have they proved it? That's a simple question.
I mean, look at all the evidence from history, from prehistory through history. You know, the Dogu figures of prehistoric Japan, all the way up to today. You have it in artwork.
That's not enough.
Artwork. You have it in
enough.
Photographs.
It's enough for me and you and even Leah, but it's not enough for the general population.
I think I disagree. I think if you took enough of this evidence to any sane court, you would get a conviction.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We look. People have already sued and took ufology to court and won. It doesn't matter.
I don't need to see proof.
You see. Well, I already know it's real, so it's different for me. But I don't believe. But in order to make the 6 billion, 7 billion people who don't think this is real think it's real, it's going to take more than people like these guys. I think these guys are great. I think each and one of them brings something to it. I've met a couple of different astronauts, and the thing of it is yes, they all say, and almost every astronaut said they have seen something weird in space, and these are the guys supposed to be looking for it. But that's not enough. Why doesn't American people believe an astronaut when he says, "I saw an alien"? Oh, well, he's crazy. Well, why? He's the astronaut. I said, you sent to space to go look for aliens. And he said he saw one, but no, you don't believe.
Technically, when we watched Neil Armstrong step off of the LEM onto the moon, we were watching an alien. Because at that point, he was an alien being on an alien world.
Yeah, he was
100%.
too.
It was live. That was not science fiction. And it did happen. The equipment is still left on the moon. If you have a good enough telescope pointed at the moon on a full
Oh, you
moon,
don't even need that anymore. The Chinese and the Indians have taken pictures of the stuff on the moon as they've gone by.
yes.
China just did as a. I think even China got tired of hearing they didn't go to the moon.
We have,
They're like,
we
yeah,
have
they did.
photographic evidence of it. You know, once we left, we still had satellites that were taking pictures, and you can see the shadows of the equipment left on the ground.
What's that, Denise? No, next week we'll talk about what a real alien abduction is. I'll have to modify this title, but why? I mean,
What's the title? I can't see what the title is.
It was just, how do you know if you're an abductee or a contactee?
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you know? Dreams, is that enough to prove that you've been abducted?
I think it's more than just. There are a lot of symptoms.
Weird stuff that you see, weird stuff you see outside.
Knowing
waking memories,
knowing things that are true before they become true.
Feeling some weirdness before something weird happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking about a dream I had the other night that pretty much came true today. I had it 2 nights ago, and then I, for the most part, not exactly like the depiction of what happened in my dreams, but like the script, almost like the dialogue almost completely took place. Not the Britney Spears dream, but the one before that.
Yeah, she was having fantasies about Britney Spears. We're not going to talk about that. That's definitely for Friday's show. What's that, Carolyn? Abductees are just who they are. Abductees don't really know they've been abducted. That's really the problem. Abductees is stage 1.
Most abductees have no clue whatsoever.
So if everybody's numbers right, 98% of everybody who's been taken has no idea they've been taken.
But what about the ones that do? Like, okay, not that.
So Alien told me last time, they said from now on, every time somebody says they've been abducted, just to slap them in the face and send them home.
Okay, so like, what if you don't know if you've been abducted, but you do have a clue of what, like, you do know something's going on.
Maybe it's a MILAB. Maybe you're being MILAB'd. Maybe it's because of that jerky weirdness.
The only way to find out if it's the U.S. government, it would be to make a teddy bear into a camera that's not connected to an internet, web, or telephone.
They might be MILAB'ing both. Yeah, that might be why somebody's cranky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Anyway, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want to get nobody killed here. How's everybody out there in Moo Land? I hope everybody's doing good. Military abductions are a bad thing, and they do take people who have it's weird how it works.
Really abducted.
Well, no, they do that too. But if you've gone forward and you've talked about your experiences on air or things that have happened to you, or you've talked about people that you're in contact with and things they have done or something that's weird, it doesn't necessarily have to be on a radio. It can be over a phone. Then they know who to go MILAB. Because you have to remember, most MILABs, most people are never going to be known in the public. But by listening to phone calls, they can hear them like talking to each other. And okay, well, John Smith over there is a MILAB. Let's go get him. I mean, he's an abductee. Let's go get him. All they have to do is watch until they see something weird go on, or you get on, or you get up and make a phone call. Well, you said something weird happened to you. Boop, they get you. Swoop in, take you, probe you, put you back, wash your face, and send you on your merry way. What's that, Stephanie? No, I was teasing about wash your face. It's a very strange thing. Well, it's one of the reasons when people come to me and they want to go public, I'm like, "Are you sure you want to go public?" I say, because there are repercussions for people who go public. And now if you come off sounding like someone who you or your mate or your friend or somebody you know sounds like they may have some type of inside information, they're going to come get you. And they may come get you more than one time. And then they may monitor you from that point forward. and every time you get taken, they may come get you.
Do they alter the course of your life without like your consent or your knowledge?
Yeah, they take you out to court. They of course they take you. You don't know that. They don't want you to remember that the government just came and took you and scanned your brain for memories, did fluid and skin samples to see the kind of air you've been breathing and stuff like that. They've probably even taken lung samples from you to see what the air mixture is.
They'd probably zap you with a Geiger counter to see if you've been near a radioactive power source.
I mean, I imagine today the sensors are quite sophisticated.
Well, but they the same kind of whatever new device they have that does the same thing, detects radiation. I'll bet they run the gamut.
Oh yeah, they want to see it, but they want to see what kind of atmosphere you've been exposed to see if it gives them any idea if the aliens may have any vulnerabilities. And remember how our government thinks. They're not trying to do all this to make friends. They're trying to do all this in case something goes wah-wah. Yes, Jesse. Wawa is a term that means we're going to
or something they can take and turn into their advantage, for sure. That's the only reason.
Well, Jesse, if you go by the Holocaust dream somewhere along the line, whether it's them or us, somebody's going to release a virus that contactees and abductees are naturally immune to. Well, maybe natural is the wrong word. Maybe they were given the immunity, vaccinated, for lack of a better word. Then what? So, Michelle had sent me that list. Along with that list, she had sent me something. I had done a special on this about 20 years ago on aerial inoculations. It's back in the news again, and they're going to start testing certain types of aerial inoculation. Okay, you're already bitching people if you got to go get a vaccine. Now they're just going to come over your house and spray you.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, no, it'd be similar. I mean, I think the idea is kind of like the concept from Spider-Man movie where the lizard tried to send out something up into a cloud layer and make a rain of mutating devices or mutating liquid that made everybody into reptilians. So I think that's the concept, but I would consider that, a violation. What if I don't want to be vaccinated?
I know there's a city in the Northwest that they're testing it. I'm not going to say where it is because I'm not getting myself in trouble. But
is it Seattle?
And there's a city in the Northwest that's being tested, and I wish I could tell you.
If it was Seattle, you would be able to tell it. So it's cloudy 95% of the year there.
They just spray it, and it fans out and it gets into clouds and it settles down over everybody eventually.
There's the conspiracy theorists that say that they're doing that out of chemtrails, out of the backs of jets.
Well, they've been doing chemtrails for a long time. Chemtrails are a lot of different things. A lot of it's just air modification, but still, they were doing chemtrails when I was in the Navy, and I knew what they were for, which is still classified. I'm not sure why it's still classified, but it is. Matter of fact, there's a few things. It's for atmospheric modification. Sorry.
Is it to create like?
No, put it like this, Leah. At one point, there were 3 holes in the ozone layer. Now there are none.
It's for that, and then there's some of these experiments are being done so that they can get an idea of how certain things may spread on places like Mars or Venus. Because some brilliant guy had this a chemical you can use, and if you could get it on Venus, you could spray it. It would actually cool down a good chunk of the planet quite quickly.
Because what is it, like 400 degrees on the surface?
800.
Wow! Oh, Jesus.
800, yeah.
Yeah, the human body would instantly burst into flame, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everything they landed there lasted a matter of minutes.
Wow.
Well, it's not just the heat; there's pressure there too. So
yeah.
So Venus has everything we need to make Mars a viable planet. It has the right amount of pressure. So if we could shift some of that global heating over to Mars and some of that pressure, it would terraform 2 planets at one time.
I think I said that last week, didn't I?
Oh yeah, we've talked about this many times over the years. I mean, if somebody could figure out how to do it, what's a long distance between Mars and Venus?
Elon Musk. Let's get Elon on the job, man.
That's a big tube we're talking about.
When will light speed travel take place?
Huh?
It's funny you said that because just recently they have talked about a couple of new types of engines. Even NASA was boldly saying we may have our new hyperdrive engine.
The engine that Bob Lazar talks about that he saw at S4 was a nuclear type of fusion that also could do FTL. It could do faster than light speed.
See, our problem isn't, and I've said this a million times after watching the experiments with the light going around Jupiter, I realized that light speed isn't going to be the problem. The problem's going to be is how do you see what's
ahead of you?
Yeah, so let's say you're doing 10,000 times or 10 times the speed of light. You got to be able to see a couple of thousand years ahead of you.
Yeah.
So no, warp 10's 100,000. Yeah, so it'd be 10,000. Yeah, it'd be 10,000, I think. Okay. I mean, anyway, how did they do that? Shit! Until you said that, I had it in my head. It's a. Well, no, people, you can go buy official Star Trek manuals. Has all that crap in there. Oh yeah, my mom geeked me out.
Warp 10 is like the fast. The Enterprise has the record. It's gone beyond Warp 10, but Warp 10 was like they say was the galactic limit for whatever reason. That's probably fiction.
Yeah, so they didn't change that until what was it, the last episode when the Enterprise had 3 things on it, could do warp 13 or 15 or something.
It went more than that. It went at one point when they go to the galactic barrier, I believe, Sulu says the warp reader is off the scale.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about but I was just talking about their everyday drive things.
Oh, the fastest was 10. Yeah, the most they would be 10.
No. In the last episode on Star Trek Generations, when he was dying, they had to go find that anomaly that was in 3 different zones. So in the future, the Enterprise had 3 cells on it, and it could do warp 13 or warp 15. That was
that was the Riker ship. Yeah.
Yes, but that was supposed to be a hunk of crap. That's the bad part. That one he's supposed to be a good one. That's supposed to be a hunk of crap.
You know, when you're just flying around on Earth, like in the sky, and
you're getting shot at by people from distant airports.
Like you fly into a bird and it like goes into your jet or something, and it kind of knocks you off course or kind of really messes your plane up. Is that possible with ships and light speed?
Not way up high. Most air traffic is about 6 or 7 miles high.
I'm even just talking about like personal planes.
But most even personal plane accidents with birds, most of them happen either on landing or takeoff.
Yeah, usually. Every now and then you'll see somebody flying. It gets that maybe coming on.
Certain heights are supposed to fly, so they're above the bird level.
I guess what I'm asking
they just showed one the other day that hit a plane.
What would the risks associated with faster than light travel be?
Well, faster than light would be in space to start off with, so
right.
Exactly.
So as long as you had good navigation, there would be really no risk.
It's exactly how Han Solo explains it in Star Wars. If without navigation, without being able to tell what's in front of us, they might bounce too close to an over, or fly into the middle of a minefield. You never know.
Well, and since our planet's surrounded by junk, you're going to need navigation just to know all that crap's at.
Yeah.
Actually, Elon is talking about cleaning all of that up, Marcus. Yes, he is. He wants to get with some country. All of the excess garbage in space.
Millions and millions of tons of screws, nuts, and bolts that have fallen off.
They want to bring it to the moon and recycle it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you mean by cleanup crew?
No. The cleanup crew is a whole different thing. The cleanup crew is the one who comes in and fixes the aliens' mistakes.
Well, that's another good thing that we've brought up is that why are the aliens here? Did they make a mistake on Earth and they're trying to fix it? Because it seems like they're trying to rebuild our society the way it was. Because there is evidence that some of the stuff that we have now has been known about for hundreds of thousands of years. Even the Egyptians knew about it. Helicopters, submarines, and
it just seems like that. Well, there might have been some weird traveling across time and space. I mean, that's probably what the Bermuda Triangle is anyway. So there might have been some weird, funky stuff like that going on.
Yeah, we had some sort of space war there was an accident that killed a fledgling species that wasn't even a part of the war, and they're all trying to fix it.
No, I wish it was that because they could fix that easy. But
Well,
it
that's what
doesn't seem like.
this may be the fix. I mean, maybe we're not
But
to
it
where.
really, it doesn't seem like. So when you look at aliens, you have to look at it. You judge them strictly by their actions. They haven't wiped us out or eaten us, but they
Yeah.
haven't enlightened us either. They
Well,
could easily enlighten
they
us.
differ on
They
that too,
haven't.
because some of the aliens allegedly have taught us how to do agriculture and animal husbandry and fornication and everything that we all know to do.
Yeah, but maybe we don't know if that's even true or not. So we just because first off, we have different sections of the world that learn different things at same times. So it's
But look
kind
at
of
all the ancient
weird.
history that shows all the things that we've been taught by alleged gods.
Well, not necessarily taught, but showed. Just a little bit different. So, like in the cave drawings, they don't really show you them killing the buffalo. They're just showing them where the buffalo is, so they can go kill them. That's different. That's not giving us the technology. That's allowing us to use the technology we made and helping us to find where something is. Now, there is the one in the Middle East where the blue gates open. That's direct interference there. I mean, any way you look at that, that's choosing a side is what that was.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they didn't look at it as choosing a side. Maybe they just looked at it as end of the war. I don't know how they actually thought about that.
Or,
but
well, like the example with Alexander. At one point, Alexander tries to attack a certain city, King Darius's city, and he is thwarted by shields in the sky. He heads towards the Mediterranean, and King Darius takes his army and chases him. And then when King Darius has him surrounded and is about to take him out, the same shields come and save Alexander. So maybe they're doing that for specific bloodlines. That's why the violence, the floods, and that kind of thing. They want certain, that's why Noah and Zeusudra and all the other Noahs across the planet were saved because there's certain bloodlines they want.
maybe.
I mean,
8 billion of it. It's hard to argue that.
58 petri dishes and only 6 of them work. You have to throw out the others, right? That's
Yeah,
what they're doing.
But my point is they would have already weeded that out. We're at 8 billion now.
Well, I think they're still doing it. I mean, that's why else is there war?
Well, there isn't real war anymore. It hasn't been since World War II.
There's 2 wars going on right now.
No, those aren't wars. Those you can maybe call those police actions. Those
But-
wars are when 2/3 of the world is killing each other. That's a war, and that's the kind of wars. I mean, World War II was 53 million people dead.
Yeah.
So these wars ain't amounted to nobody 500,000
But
Russians.
Civil
if you
War,
can
there's a
believe.
lot of people dead too, more than World War II.
They so I mean no the biggest war that's been fought since none of them really.
The war on
The Russians have only lost 500,000 people. It's I mean compared to World War I or World War II, that's just a drop in the bucket, and it's going to be over. They're going to be over long before that happens. So,
Well,
unless we get into a
looking to go the
major
other way too,
confrontation. So I don't think they're here. I really think a lot of this was by accident, meaning that when the human aliens came here and found the planet, basically they just found a planet that really wasn't inhabited by nothing, some tree monkeys or some shit. And they came here and said, okay, we need these things on this planet, whatever it may have been, because there's a lot of rumors about what they took.
Yeah.
And gold being the number one one. But the problem was where they said they were digging for gold. There was never
gold
any
is still
gold,
abundant on our Earth in reality.
Yeah, and they could have got gold in there.
Not.
Yeah. But any of this stuff they could have got from the asteroid belt much easier than they could have got it from here. So I don't, some of that makes me wonder. But anyway, this race came here and built 2 cities because they couldn't live in the atmosphere here. And the Sumerians talk a lot
maybe
about
they
them.
came here because they took all the uranium from the asteroid belt already.
No, we know it's there. We can see it from here.
Oh, well, maybe
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All that gold's there, all that platinum's there, all kind of minerals.
Uranium is still rarer on our Earth than gold is.
But the point is there's so much stuff in that thing that anything they could have mined here, they could have mined there. And it's not just there. There's asteroids all over this place.
Well, perhaps they came for the monkeys and their DNA.
Nah, I think they came here, and I actually think they came here to stay for a while because they built 2 big dome cities and they started living here. I think they were just really basically setting up a colony. And they needed workforce, so they interbred their stuff. The original race they created was them. They created a race like themselves that could breathe the atmosphere, that had been modified. It was just them. They could just breathe the air, and they were modified to live outside the city. But They didn't want to do the dirty work, so that's why they created what the Sumerians call the 7 creations of man, with us being the very last creation.
The final creation, also known
we,
as
we
Adamu, or the first ones who can
yeah.
breed on their own.
Yeah, we were the ones. We could do things like procreate and breed, make mead, but we weren't really sentient in the sense that we think is sentient today until the reptilians interbred with us, and then we became sentient.
That's a good point. There are two names to our species. There's Homo sapiens, which is the previous version of us. We are now called Homo sapiens sapiens.
Yeah, and I think when the reptilians interbred with us, so you had some creature here on this planet, which probably was us. And then the Sumerians the aliens put their DNA in the human aliens, and then the reptilians interbred. And then all of a sudden you had this tri-breed hybrid that was pretty intelligent. It was learning fast. It was learning how to create weapons. It was learning how to grow. It was spreading like a plague. And then around the time of Christ, the Greys show up, and now you've got a quad bred race with 4 different DNAs, and then we went from being brown haired, brown skin, and brown eyed to blue and green eyed and RH negative. All this shit just pops in. I mean, all of a sudden, it's like we just take a major evolutionary step.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Glenn? No. RH negative is a major evolution. First off, the universal donor comes from there. Without it, a lot more people would die. On top of that, the purest blood known to man comes from RH negative. So actually from O negative. Same thing the universal donor does. So without that particular gene set, we would not know half of what we know today.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's allowing us to realize that, believe it or not, the people who have RH negative versus RH positive are different.
Would you say that the people who are O negative or like any negative are all like somehow related to a similar like linking relative from the past, like an ancestor?
RH negative, the whole bunch of them, regardless what your type is, RH negative came from somewhere out of the blue. Nobody knows where. It was a mutation. It just mutated, and there it was. And in that little bit of time, 20 or 40,000 years, it has managed to take over 15% of the world's population.
Is it a dominant?
No, but every one of us has a 50% chance of, if you have a child, of it being blue-eyed, even if both parents are brown-eyed.
Yeah, because it was thrown in there. Because that means somebody in your family.
It's a recessive. It's a passive regressive recessive gene, I guess you could call it.
But it also means somebody. If you've got colored eyes, it also means somewhere along the line, somebody in your family has RH negative blood.
Yeah.
The two are kind of exclusive with each other now. It's today it's different because there's been so much interbreeding. I mean, not interbreeding, but so much breeding that they've been passed around. But even today, it's only 14% of the world's population.
Well, another fascinating point we're also forgetting about at that same time, ancient man, Homo sapiens, the previous version of us, the caveman version of us, they hung out. They didn't just fight and kill off the old species, so Homo heidelbergensis and Homo erectus. They actually intermingled with and interbred with them, and there are plenty of we know the genes passed through them into us, and they're still with us. The brains of Homo erectus were about 25 to 30 cc's bigger than ours, so technically they should have been the more advanced. They should have gotten smarter and learned how to make tools faster than we did. Somehow something was different in our brains, though it was smaller.
Yeah, well, we also interbred with Neanderthal too, so
yes,
maybe that's
what I'm saying. We did, but people say that we killed them off. No, we didn't. There's evidence where there was wars between Homo sapiens and Homo erectus, and vice versa. And then there are evidence of us fighting with them, and living with them in communal, peaceful communal villages.
Well, Jackie, one of the biggest bitches I always had when they always said we came from 2 parents is, in order to have a population of 8 billion, it means you started out with a population of about 4,000 individuals. They couldn't have been related to each other, because if they were, so when you preplex breed, when you keep going over it, it's like making a bad copy.
Yeah, bad qualities into magnify in that fashion.
Yeah, well, so do good ones, but the odds are that if there's other weird badnesses in your family, it could be a lot of things, from bad health to bad temper to whatever, it quadruples it, eightfolds it. And the longer you do it, the worse it gets. So today's population, most of today's population would be retarded.
Well, there's a lot of example of that. The Plantagenets, I think that the kings of England, their last name is Plantagenet. It's a French name, oddly enough. They're plagued with hemophilia, so that they have to be very careful not to cut themselves, or they'll continue to bleed.
Some would argue that today's population, the majority of it, is R-worded. Like the movie Idiocracy, it just keeps getting worse and worse and dumber and dumber.
Well, people do get dumbed down. People do. We'll talk about that on Friday night. People do get dumbed down. It's part of what goes on the planet. But that you have to let yourself be done that too. I mean, it's not. You don't have to be. But we got to go, guys and girls, because it's already after 8. No, Jenny, we'll get on to what the abduction stuff was next week. Friday night we will talk a little bit about today's congressional hearing, and we'll see what they're going on. Maybe who told you that? Only a handful of people even knew that. I haven't heard back from them, but yes, I was asked to go on again. So no, we're going to talk about who until I actually get it. But how the hell did you hear that? Oh, all right, never mind. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, no problem. No, I don't mind you knowing. I just, it wasn't something I was ready to announce on here yet. Anyway, so we're going to get out of here. Y'all go check out Michelle DeRoche and Neely Pisano. They might be talking about what went on today. Michelle has got a good eagle eye on it and what's going on. Well, my biggest problem is, and I'm going to go over it some more, and I'm sure Jay will, and we'll make Leah look, and we'll write to Mike, tell him to look. My problem is I feel there's too much of this. I was told, or I heard, or I need more than that. Being a researcher, I need more than that. Yes, I need more than that. It would be like somebody told me Leah was a guy. I'd say, okay, let me see some ID check. You pervert! You said I was gonna say something. You bunch of perverts! I swear, man. You better watch it. They're gonna come get you. I see what Trump said the other day. You better watch it instead of online. They'll get you. No, this season. We're gonna get out of here. Any moans, groans, bitches, or complaints, anything along those lines, please write to Leah Dunbar, courtesy of Michelle DeRoche. And yes, she can handle them. She can handle them.
Sure.
But no, be sure to check us out on Friday night. We will be, like I said, we will be talking a little bit about the congressional hearing. We got some stuff we got to catch up on. Some of Trump's picks. Yes, we'll talk about that. And then I think we got a guest coming on with us too. Yes,
I don't know if I'll be able to do Friday's show. I'm usually so tired and ready for bed by right now.
Didn't you used to work at a coffee shop?
Yes.
Do you know what coffee's for?
To keep you from getting tired.
Yes. Okay. There we go. See, I had to remind her, and I know she can drink some stout coffee, so don't let her give me no BS. But if you can't make it, we do understand.
It's also her birthday. So happy birthday.
I'm hoping we see somebody new. Gigi might be coming to hang out with us for a little while. We're testing out a new host and see where we're going to put her. She's a fiery little cracker little thing, so we'll see how she does. Hopefully, I forgot she wrote to me and lost it in my email. I just found it today. What's that, Christopher? No, we gotta go. We gotta go.
It is time to go. We're in grave danger.
Oh, send your emergency pizza to iCarCox.net.
That's the old high sign from the Little Rascals, Leah.
That's right. And let's say no, we don't curse on this show. Friday night, I'll curse on Friday night.
Oh, no holds barred, man.
You won't hear me curse on Saturday either. No,
you might have. The congressional hearings. I might get a little fired up. You might have to put us on private on YouTube.
Yes. Speaking of that, I'm glad you said that. I got to go look through all those YouTube things before I resubmit it. We finally got off a strike mode. No, anyway, y'all go check out Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. They are on The Outer Realm, and they are on right now. Be sure to go check them out. Tell Michelle we said hi and give her a high five or something. Don't give her no sass. She will kick your ass. Oh, wait, I'm becoming a poet now. But on that note, good night, and I will see all of y'all, Friday night. So stay out of trouble till then.